Hello and welcome to the 2008 County Saab Scottish Rally Championships. We're halfway through this 8-event series. It all started in February with the Arnold Clark Thistle Snowman Rally in Inverness.
The drivers and crews had used the winter break to prepare their cars for the treacherous forest tracks. Let me tell you that the Snowman is about as tough a test as you can get for any championship opener.
A near maximum entry of 117 cars and crews descended on the Highland capital. Among the teams to watch are former title winner Jimmy Girvan from Inverness in his Subaru Impreza, and up-and-coming Dumfries youngster David Bogie, of whom much is expected.
Ayrshire's Neil Dugan, boss of the series sponsor, could make an impact in his Subaru Impreza WRC, as could Carlisle-based Mike Faulkner in a Mitsubishi Evo 6. Stephen Clark from Elgin is one to watch in his Evo 4, and Ulsterman Richard Cathcart could also be a threat if he takes part regularly in the series. The Snowman's a bumper event and drew a massive crowd of around 20,000 people.
Just to see all the cars just going by at good speed, brilliant.
Just like the rally cars and stuff. It's really good.
Fantastic. There's so many competitors this year. It's been pretty good.
Brilliant. Look forward to it every year. It's great seeing all these fantastic cars that are out there.
Stage 1 Scotsburn is short at 6 miles, but there could be the odd patch of ice lurking in the shadows to catch out the unwary. Stage 2 Carbisdale is very twisty and technical and should reward those with a neat and tidy driving style. The 9 miles of Stage 3 Dalchalk are again a real test of skill. This road hasn't been used for many years, which means getting traction and keeping the car on the road is difficult on this green and slippery surface.
The Snowman just seems to bring everyone out. You know, you look at the car park here and the place is mobbed, and you go into the stage, and that first stage is the spectator area. We know there's going to be thousands of people there. It's brilliant.
The hard conditions, the sun, we're really looking forward to today. It'll be good, the grip will be good.
Stage 4 Dalnessie provided a very different challenge as it's much more open and flowing. And the final test, Strathrory, is the longest stage at 12 miles. It's so fast organisers had to install several chicanes to try and slow down the cars to avoid the top runners beating the bogey, which is the minimum time for the stage.
3, 2, 1, go!
As we join the action at the start of Stage 2, David Bogie and co-driver Kevin Ray, who's in his debut season, hold the lead by 2 seconds from Neil Dugan and Campbell Roy. It's Bogie's first Snowman rally and he's confident, but things don't always go to plan.
Got puncture. Okay. And flat one right over crest.
On to the second stage was going to go for a bit of a push and clipped a rock and got a puncture quite early on, so we lost a minute or so with that.
We're having to use manual gearbox selection, so clearly David Bogie in front of us got a bit of a problem as well. But that was a really, really difficult stage. It's a very inconsistent surface. Times coming up to corner, it's very dry and easy under braking. Other times it's sheet ice. It's dangerous in places.
50.
Jimmy Girvan and Kirsty Riddick now had the chance to take control, and they pushed hard to win the stage and grab the lead.
We're going well. What do you know about the next stage? Is the conditions there? Long and fast, lots of straights, keep it flattened out.
Stage 2 was also better than the first test for Richard Cathcart. He powered up the field to finish 4 seconds behind Girvan.
Stalling the start line and leaking brake pipe in the back and no brakes on the straight, so we lost too much time. So that one's a wee bit better, but just getting used to the car first time out, you know.
Girvan consolidated his position on Stage 3, increasing his overall advantage to 9 seconds from Dugan, with Cathcart in third. But it was David Bogie who was catching the eye as he stormed back into contention following his earlier puncture. He won Stage 4 in an impressive 8 minutes and 15 seconds to claim 6th place overall.
C300, well done.
We all were nothing in the last stage, I'm sure, so try and get up there in the points. Just a bit unfortunate about the puncture earlier on, but the stage has been very good, and the people out in stages, I say, the atmosphere is just brilliant, so thoroughly enjoying it. Just, as I say, a bit disappointed about the puncture earlier on.
Despite being 7 seconds adrift of Bogie's time, Girvan and Riddick did just enough in Stage 4 to retain their overall lead. But the gap to Neil Dugan had narrowed to just 3 seconds with 12 stage miles left. There'd be no margin for error on the ultra-fast climax to this event.
It's going to be a hard one. We have to actually give it maximum assault because both of us obviously want to win the event, and second won't be any use to either of us. So we will be giving it maximum attack, and that's all it's to it.
Gervin and Riddick knew it would be a close call, and they certainly couldn't afford to ease up.
Oh my God, we've beaten the bogey.
Yes! But Dugan and Roy hadn't given up hope of overall victory and stormed through the final stage a full 12 seconds faster than Gervin. It was to no avail as the top 5 crews all completed the test inside the bogey time, which is set by the sports governing body for insurance purposes. The top placings would remain unaltered.
30 points are awarded to the winner of the rally. Then it's 28, 27, 26, 25 and so on, down to 1 point. Which means after round 1 in Inverness, William Bonnewell was in 5th spot. David Bogey claimed 4th. Richard Cathcart was lying 3rd. Neil Dugan was in 2nd. And Jimmy Gervin was in the lead with a maximum 30 points. Crews count their top 6 places over the 8-race series, so those who finished down the order still had it all to play for.
The championship moved to the picturesque town of Jedburgh for round 2, the Brick and Steel Border Counties Rally. With both national A and B status, the event attracted a full entry list of 140 crews, highlighting the growth and popularity of the sport in Scotland, with driver registrations looking set to achieve an all-time record figure.
One notable driver was missing. Neil Dugan, runner-up in the Snowman Rally, was absent due to a recent stroke. Neil's flamboyant driving style will be missed by spectators. He's making steady progress, and everyone connected with the SRC wishes him a speedy recovery.
The competitive stages on the Border Counties Rally are based in the Cheviot Hills and the notorious Kielder Forest Park. Kielder's been the nemesis of many a driver from beginner to world champion. The fast-flowing makeup of the stage is allowing the bravest to hit speeds of up to 125 miles an hour.
Pretty nervous today, just hoping the roads are going to be in reasonable condition when we get there, because obviously a lot of four-wheel drive cars and stuff ahead of us.
Every time we're out there, it's something different, you know. Oh, don't put her off.
With a liberal covering of small loose gravel on top of a hard durable surface, Kielder will punish the smallest driver error. Go in too deep or cut a corner by a few millimetres and the famous ditches will be waiting for you. Everyone will be trying hard, but they won't all get away with it.
It was expected to be a tight affair once more, with Andy Horn, aspiring champion David Bogey and current series leader Jimmy Gervin among the favourites.
It's extremely fast, so we have got to keep it in the straight and narrow.
There's a lot of sharp stones sitting out there, so it could be a problem, but hopefully if I have a good clean run, no punctures, and we should be there or thereabouts.
Richard Cathcart, fresh from a podium finish on round 1, and local father and son Alistair and Ewan Thorburn would also be in the mix.
3, 2, 1, go! 3 right.
20-year-old Bogey is the leading Scottish junior hopeful, and he set out in his Mitsubishi Evo 9 to bag points in both the Scottish Championship and the Evo Challenge, which he led after the opening round.
Into 1 right over crest.
Bogey and notesman Kevin Ray set a very competitive time on stage 1. However, his good fortune ran out on the next test on Ogre Hill.
Deceptive square right at the tall trees there. DT. Oi, oi, oi.
What's up, Kev? Camera off. We came over the crest and we thought there was more distance, and it just seen the square right. Never really had time to brake or nothing, she just sailed straight over. But it's obviously a bad corner. Everybody just came out of the trees with ratchet straps and that and got us out, so we're still going. Scunnard, but hey, that's the joys of rallying. The highs are high and the lows are rock bottom.
These things happen in rallying. It's not very good for Mum's nerves. That's the only thing when he doesn't come out of a stage. But thankfully they're all okay, and that's the main thing.
One of the most intriguing battles of the day saw father and son Ali and Ewan Thorburn from Duns go head-to-head. with breakfast table bragging rights as well as championship points at stake.
On stage 1, walk-up, Ewan was 4th fastest, with Thorburn Senior finding himself in 8th. After a time-consuming basic error in braking, saw the Subaru driver oversteer at the second corner.
On Ogre Hill, positions were reversed, with Ali 2nd fastest, just 1 second ahead of his son. However, the battle ended in Harwood Forest.
Suspension's collapsed, the top nut's stripped, so it's just like a bouncy castle pretty much, so we've got no one else that has got spare parts from, so unfortunately that's game over for us today. So.
Left 3 in. Once again, many crews were undone by the unyielding Kielder Forest stages, made all the more challenging by frequent sleet and snow showers. Among the leading casualties were Andy Horn, who crashed off after a component failure, and William Bonnywell, who came to grief on the day's 3rd test. The Oban driver's Subaru Impreza stepped out of line on a slippery fast right, clipping a log pile and rolling.
Is that you, Fred? I don't know whether he crashed off or whether he just slid off.
How far off do we know?
I don't know what's happening. Phone me when you get phone reception.
Don't get particularly worried because these cars are very safe, and if there'd been anything ill towards, they would have sent in rescue queues and stuff like that to stop the stage. So it's just an accident. The car's obviously just stuck somewhere.
Jimmy Girvin led right from the very first stage but couldn't afford to relax, as Richard Cathcart was pushing him all the way in his Group N Mitsubishi.
It's been okay, but steady, you know, but we're wrong tyres, so we changed them now to something that's a bit opener so for the next one, so hopefully we'll be all right.
Feeling very comfortable and confident, yeah, just keep on going just as hard as we can, no let up.
The former title holder almost came to grief on stage 4, braking too late into a chicane. Girvin was very fortunate not to incur a penalty. He recovered to complete the stage just 6 seconds ahead of Cathcart in an overall time of 45 minutes 43.9 seconds. It was maximum points for the second event in a row for Girvin, consolidating his bid for a second Scottish crown.
What was the worst stage for you today?
Probably the one with all the chicanes, which is a horrendous amount of chicanes. It was just chicane after chicane, but that was all, you know.
In this unique event, competitors can opt to take part in the longer National A event, or the National B, which is 1 stage shorter and counts for the SRC. Points are calculated at the end of 6 of the 7 stages. Girvin, Cathcart and Bogey went for the National A, so Girvin takes maximum points. But Thorburn Senior takes the National B victory, 24 seconds ahead of Mike Faulkner and 33 in front of 3rd place Stephen Clark.
We had quite a cushion, but it's always a bit difficult in the last stage. We backed off a little bit, but I think we lost 3 or 4 seconds. But when you've got a better lead, then it's quite advisable, I would say.
That means that after 2 events, the leaderboard looks like this. In 5th, it's John Morrison on 45 points. Stephen Clark is 4th on 48. Mike Faulkner is 3rd with 50. In 2nd, it's Richard Cathcart with 55. And still out in front, it's Jimmy Girvin on 60 points.
So exciting stuff there in Jedburgh, and you get a real feeling of what it's actually like to take part in a rally from our in-car cameras. And you would see that the drivers and the navigators have to work so hard together as a team to negotiate all those hairpins, bends and crests. Well, where did they actually get the route information from?
My name's Bill Sturrock, and my principal job on motorsport in Scotland is to produce the route notes and all the mapping information for the events.
3, 2, 1. 4 into right 5. Bad right 7 over cliff.
We go around all the stages, we survey the route probably about 3 weeks in advance of the rallies, check all the stages, produce the notes, send them out to the competitors along with a DVD, which is my survey of that route.
160. Last crest 100.
The day before the rally, I go through and we check all the notes again, update the information, looking for changes that have occurred because, like any place, a forest is a living environment and it changes all the time. My job is to try and make sure the crews are safe. These guys are committed to the information that I provide on a piece of paper.
70 down. Well done.
Aberdeen in the northeast is home to Rally 3, the station garage Mitsubishi Granite City. Set over 6 stages and 45 miles of hard, dusty driving. Stage 1 Blackhall is 4.8 miles and a technical drive with lots of surface changes. Stage 2 Fetteresso 1 is nearly 9 fast-flowing miles with a good, hard surface.
It's sometimes down to the weather, really. Sometimes we've done this event, it's beautiful weather and everything, and it just really depends on the conditions that we find out there.
Drumtochty is stage 3. It's fast with a few surface changes and tricky unseen junctions. Stage 4 Glenfarclas is quick with a hard surface. Fetteresso 2 is a fast, good surface, and at 9.4 miles it's the longest stage of the rally. And finally, stage 6 Durrus is dusty with a very loose surface, challenging when braking from high speeds for slow corners.
Spectators were in for a treat as organisers had drafted in Irishman Philip Morrow, complete with the latest Mitsubishi World Rally car. Local businessman and 2006 Scottish champion Dave Weston made his home rally one of a selected programme of events, this year in his Ford Focus WRC.
David Bogie had seen his challenge falter after disappointing results. But with neither Morrow nor Weston registered for points in the County Sab Scottish Series, the 20-year-old was confident he could kick-start his championship challenge.
We'll get through the first stage and we'll take it from there. Hey, Jimmy Girvin, he's going to be the man I've got to beat today, so I will see what happens.
Father and son Alistair and Ewan Thorburn fought out a close battle in the borders, with Thorburn Jr. losing out.
Really just need a finish today. We missed the first round and we failed to finish in the second round, so really we need to get a finish and get some points on the board for the championship. So.
Bogie and co-driver Kevin Ray rolled their car in the border counties and their bad luck looks set to continue. Early brake problems on his Toyota Corolla were compounded on stage 2.
Right, got a puncture, 60.
He drove for 7 miles, losing more than a minute to main challenger Jimmy Girvin, who now seemed to have the advantage.
Open hairpin right. Into left 1 in. C160.
Lost the brakes at the end of the first stage, a nipple came off the caliper, puncture on the first stage as well, and right at the start of that stage 2 got a puncture, so just got to go for it now, like not really to lose. So the championship, I needed a right good finish here, so.
Lovely stages, really dry, you can commit 100% to them. We've got to keep the pace up because Mike Faulkner's lying in 3rd place, not that far behind.
Faulkner, who'd come second in Jedburgh, was also confident of a strong showing in Aberdeen. Mixed fortunes has seen the Carlisle driver slip down the order, but a top 5 time on stage 3 put Faulkner and navigator Peter Foy back in contention.
Right 7 over crest plus.
Didn't have a very good start to the first stage, just couldn't get the fast lines, and we dropped a little bit of time early on, just getting our confidence. Stage 2 really got the car by the scruff of the neck, really good time.
Not surprisingly, the rally win went to Northern Ireland's Philip Morrow in his World Rally car. He ended the day a comfortable 1 minute 22 seconds ahead of Aberdeen's Dave Weston.
Championship leader Jimmy Girvin had problems in his Subaru on the 4th stage.
Gears.
What?
Gears.
Don't have any.
No.
Get it? Broken it.
This cost him 28 seconds to David Bogie, who was by now on a charge after his earlier problems. By the end of stage 5, Fetteresso 2, the Dumfries driver, had clawed back the deficit and was ahead by 1 second.
Left and 70 down. Well done.
After emergency repairs to his gearbox, Girvin made that up on the final test, and it was left to tie-break rules to separate the pair. Bogie took the maximum 30 points, having been fastest on the first stage, but that only moved him into 8th spot on the leaderboard after his poor showing in Jedburgh.
Faulkner and Peter Foy finished 5th in their Group A Mitsubishi Evo 6, despite suffering a broken suspension arm on stage 5. Stephen Clark, partnered by Ian Edwards, had another excellent result in the older Mitsubishi Evo 4, taking 6th overall. Stonehaven's Barry Groundwater pushed himself into championship contention, coming in 7th in his Evo 9. And Rory Young from Dumfries made his mark with a creditable 8th in an Evo 5.
After the Granite City, the 2008 SRC leaderboard looks like this. Rory Young is 5th with 64 points. Barry Groundwater's 4th on 68. In 3rd is Stephen Clark with 74. He's 3 points behind Mike Faulkner on 77. But Jimmy Girvin is still the man to catch. He's leading on 88 points.
Now, what many people don't realise is that these cars have to conform in terms of their engine, in terms of their seats, their harnesses, their roll cages, and even a fire extinguisher. They're technical masterpieces, but they all have to pass the detailed testing of the dreaded scrutineer.
Ayo! Ha!
Starting this one, just a general look under bonnet, cleanliness, tidiness of the vehicle, checking for any holes through the bulkhead, which is a flameproof area from the cockpit, must be sealed from inside the car. Check security of the seat, and then check condition of the seat belts, check that they are within date, and then check the roll cage, check welding joints to make sure they're fully welded at the vulnerable points. It has an internal fuel tank, which means the rear bulkhead must be sealed from the cockpit of the car with no holes going through. And one helmet to see for the MSA seal of approval, the correct British standard and condition of the helmet. That one is okay. And then they must also carry an OK SOS board. Sign it off and you go and enjoy a day's rallying.
From the dust of the Granite City Rally in Aberdeen, drivers and crews moved south to Kelso, where the famous Abbey sits near the banks of the River Tweed, for the Jim Clark Reivers event.
Round 4 of the 2008 Championship is the only closed public road event in the series. The SRC drivers aren't used to rallying on tarmac, so their all-round skills and adaptability will be tested to the maximum over the 3 different stages, each of which is used twice.
We're going to give it a good steady run today. I would like to get used to it in the first stage. We've only done one tarmac event basically, so I don't expect to be right up there. We're going to hopefully try and get into about the top 7 or something.
In other years we've had good runs, and yeah, I think it's a case of having a good car and gelling with the car and the navigator, and you know, so we just hope it does today.
Stages 1 and 6 Bothwell are a cracking technical examination over 6.5 miles of narrow, undulating moorland roads. Stages 2 and 4 Eccles are 12 miles long on typical Borders rural roads, with fast straights interspersed with farmyards and many minor junctions.
Stages 3 and 5 take crews through Leitham, where cars negotiate a humpback bridge and a couple of junctions. It's extremely fast with difficult blind crests and jumps, and includes the infamous Swinton Crossroads, where I experienced the thrill of the action. They separate the brave from the rest. They're doing 100 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour, that is frightening. That is frightening.
Weather conditions were perfect for the 116 entrants. Bone-dry asphalt, which would see speeds of up to 120 miles an hour.
One of the advantages of the Scottish Rally Championships is it does cover the whole of Scotland, you know, right from the north, right down to the south, like the Jim Clark Rally here. There's also obviously the benefit in developing the sport, a lot of young drivers taking part. Motorsport, something that's very much in the Scottish blood.
David Bogie had begun to pick up points after his faltering start to the season. And he'd gone into the Jim Clark aiming to close the gap on championship leader Jimmy Girvin. He set a blistering pace in Bothwell 1, leaving the veteran from Inverness in his slipstream.
Just can't take any chances today. You know, basically I'm looking for points today, and there's absolutely no way I could even think about beating David Bogie because it's just not possible.
3-100. Right 4 in, very long left 3.
The tricky junctions of Eccles were taking their toll on drivers not used to tarmac. Jonathan Young and co-driver Simon Mills were typical as they came to grief after failing to negotiate a right-hand bend.
Oh! Reverse. Go, go, go. So it's got to be backwards.
Despite the frantic efforts of Mills and some spectators, the mistake cost the Fenwick driver 5 minutes and ruined any chance of a decent finish.
Over the first 3 stages, Bogey was certainly the man to beat, until his gearbox developed problems during stage 3.
600.
Jimmy Gervin was driving steadily and sticking to his strategy of finishing the rally without taking too many risks. But it was Steve Bannister and Keith Robothon in their two-wheel drive Ford Escorts who were making the headlines.
The two crews traded stage times throughout the day, proving anything the four-wheel drive cars can do in tarmac, their two-wheel drive cousins can do better if the conditions remain dry.
It went actually a lot better than I thought, you know, because I haven't been in car for a month since the last event and onto tarmac, and yeah, really pleased with it, so just hope we can keep it up.
Despite his gearbox problems, Bogey managed to set the fastest time on stage 4, the second run through Eccles. But by the end of the 5th test, his gearbox was stuck in top and his rally was run.
Is that 6th?
Aye. We managed to nurse it through for another 2 stages but that last stage it jammed in 6th halfway around, so we managed to nurse it to the end of the stage just and get back here, but that's it now, it's finished.
Barry Groundwater followed up his good work in Aberdeen with 6th place points, and Rory Young from Dumfries was 2 places behind, consolidating his position.
Long left 3.
Stephen Clark was competing in a four-wheel drive for the first time in a tarmac rally, taking 7th place points in his Evo 4. And John Morrison from Conan Bridge secured 25 points.
Gateshead driver Andy Fenwick won the Jim Clark. But Yorkshireman Steve Bannister with co-driver Louise Sutherland turned in a virtuoso performance in their Ford Escort to come 2nd overall, with Keith Robothon 3rd. Fenwick's not registered for the SRC, so it was full points for Bannister.
Maximum points in Scottish. I wonder when last time a two-wheel drive got maximum points on the Scottish. I don't know, but yeah, it certainly boosted our championship points.
With the challenge of David Bogey fading, Jimmy Gervin's safety-first strategy worked well. He finished 4th overall in the event, and his quest for a 2nd Scottish crown was still firmly on track.
At the halfway point of the 2008 Scottish Rally Championship, the leaderboard stands like this. In 5th, it's Rory Young on 86 points. John Morrison's 4th with 87. Barry Groundwater's in 3rd on 92, with Stephen Clark 2nd on 97. Jimmy Gervin is leading after 4 rallies on a massive 115 points.
Well, the champagne is certainly spraying. It's been a fantastic finish here in Kelso.
That's us halfway through the series. Next up, the Scottish Rally in Dumfries. But from everyone at the Jim Clark Rally, goodbye.
Goodbye.